Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Sunday services at Center for Spiritual Living, Denver. We are a loving and prospering community in the heart of Denver and online. We now conduct hybrid services at the historic Grant Avenue Community Center and Sacred Place, located at 216 South Grant Street, Denver, Colorado. All are welcomed here. A place, space, and face of love. We are a spiritual community practicing universal principles that enrich our lives. We are grateful that you have blessed us with your presence. While online, we'd love to know you're watching with us. Feel free to leave a comment and let everyone appreciate you. With everything going on, life can feel overwhelming. CSL Denver wants you to know we are here for you. Please know that our practitioners are available for personal prayer work. Our licensed spiritual practitioners' names and phone numbers are available on our website at csldenver.org. Or if you have a prayer request, feel free to email it to info@csldenver.org. For your convenience, you'll find clickable links in the description of this broadcast. Rev L. Zia, along with all our guest speakers, practitioners, service coordinators, and musical inspirations, want you to know how truly grateful we are that you are with us today. Thank you for your continued support and participation in our services, workshops, and events, as well as providing financial contributions to our center. If you're interested in upcoming events and information, we send out weekly newsletters. Sign up by visiting www.csldenver.org. We deliver services in a hybrid format where we meet in person at 216 South Grant Street. We will also continue to live stream all services on Facebook and YouTube every Sunday. Find us on our respective channels as well as on New Thought Media Network. Again, thank you for your precious attention. Now prepare for engaging enlightenment.
There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden where God's grace blooms. There is a garden where everything grows, a beautiful garden where love is sown. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. in this place of light and love. You can't have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. Such a beautiful garden. That garden is you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Beautiful gardens. I'm Alice Nutter, a practitioner here at CSL Denver, and I invite you to join me in an invocation. So if you feel comfortable, lean back and close your eyes and just take in a deep breath. And just let go of all the rest of the morning that it took to get here, and just knowing that we are in the right and perfect place right here and right now. And as we move into this service, we know that Spirit is here, moving, living, and breathing us. And we are so blessed with having Reverend Paula Belleggie as our guest speaker today. And this is the last Sunday for Denise Rosier's music. And it's just been such an awesome month, all about vulnerability. And just knowing that as we move into that we are held in that, and that we are such a divine community of beings that have chosen to be together and to be on this path together. And so we are all blessed. The service is blessed. Technology is blessed, and just knowing that all is well. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for each and every person who has chosen to be here in person or online, knowing that you are in the right and perfect place. And from that place of deep, deep gratitude, I release this into that one mind, that one heart, knowing that all is well and it is done. And so it is. And so our reading today is from this month's Vulnerability magazine or the Science of Mind magazine on vulnerability. And we do have a few more over there. So if you're open to it. Anyway, so this is from Reverend Dr. David Alexander's article, and it's called Open Up to Full Cooperation. Through decades of practicing this science of mind philosophy, we clearly see that so much of what we teach is about building up an internal confidence, assurance, and strength of faith. So what does vulnerability have to do with it? In truth, this approach may just be the key to greater understanding. Perhaps we've never thought of it this way before, but let's explore the power of vulnerability. Just how vulnerable do we have to be to open to the idea that there is a power of spirit that can do all things? So often our society drills into us the importance of the self-made individual, doing it ourselves, building confidence in our own capacity, agency, and individual strength. It's hard to see what could be wrong with that, but perhaps an unintended consequence is that such a quest has left us more isolated and cut off, not only from each other, but also from the full potential of a power greater than we are. After all, isn't that what Jesus meant when he said, "It is not I, but the Father or power within that doeth the work"? It's humbling to admit that our ego, our self-assured identity, can't do it all, and that instead all things are made possible by surrendering to a greater power. Our real task in spiritual development is not to make a life that works, but to surrender to the idea that there is a perfect life that wants to express in us, as us. Ernest Holmes provides the example. It's not about affirming I am a millionaire, which would be using our principles to will a change of condition. It is about alignment to the abundant nature of the universe that is already available, and surrendering all thought, behavior, and ideas that stand in the way of our full cooperation. So travel well. And from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, from this thing called you, I am conscious of an infinite wisdom directing me. Whatever I ought to know, I shall know. Whatever I ought to do, I shall do. Whatever belongs to me comes to me. And so it is. So it is. And now we have Denise Rosier singing One Heart.
Good morning, everybody. So here's the deal. Whenever we show up to a social situation and we bring our authentic selves to the table, we improve everything about it. The vibe, the energy, the interaction, the conversation. It's so much better and more alive when we are unafraid to let people see who we are and we feel comfortable with who we are. And how much more do we improve life globally when we show up that way in the world? One heart, one mind, one power in the name of love. I have so enjoyed my time with you this month. Blessings on all of you, and I can't wait to see you again.
Spirit is our source, our strength. We honor it with each breath we take. One heart, one mind, one power. In the name of love. In the name of love. You build the bridges, I'll tear down the walls. We'll make a world that works for all. One heart, one mind, one power. In the name of love. In the name of love. Truth behind the life we live. Nothing hides the light we shine when we're standing side by side. One heart, one mind, one power. In the name of love. Every face is the face of love. Every voice is the voice of love. Every name is the name of love. We all come from a place of love. Every face is a face of love. Every voice is the voice of love. Every name is the name of love. We all come from a place of love. Every face, the face of love. Every voice, the voice of love. Every name, the name of love. One heart, one mind, one power. In the name of one heart, one mind, one power. In the name of love. In the name of love.
Bless you, everybody. So great to be with you. I'll see you again.
Thank you, Denise, for such beautiful music during this month. And good morning, CSL family. I'm glad you're here today. I'm here to introduce to some, to remind you for others of my ministerial student colleague as we went through the thing together, and so we graduated together at the same time, and so I'm so honored to have Reverend Paula Belleggie here to give you today's message. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's do it. Thank you. So thank you for that, Z. And yes, we were ready to quit many a times, but we just kept plugging along and kept saying that somewhere in this heart of our calling, there is a reason that we are here. And so I'm grateful to see you still doing so well and
lighting hearts of many, and I'm grateful to be doing ministry as well still. I mean, it's been a long time. 13 years for us, right? Yeah. Way to go. Well, before I get right into this, I just want to say what blessing it is to see all of you, because CSL Denver is very near and dear to my heart. This was the first place that LZ and I had a letter of call, was here with you all. And we kind of grew up all over you. So thank you for giving us a place to cut our teeth and to become the ministers that God really wants us to be. And I do believe that we are both being that now. So hopefully I get to be that with you today. So today I'm speaking to you about the power and the possibility of vulnerability. In Japan, there's a concept known as wabi-sabi. Anyone familiar with that? Wabi-sabi, not to be confused with our favorite sushi condiment, wasabi. This is wabi-sabi, which is actually a celebration of the value of imperfection. It sees the cracks and flaws as something to be treasured, something that has value. And it's not something to fix or address, rather something to behold, and behold it in love, behold it for all its beauty. Now, I first encountered wabi-sabi when my ex, who was returning my possessions as she was court ordered to do. We met in a parking lot in Walmart, and there were several boxes in the back of the pickup, and she began to drop these boxes on the asphalt. Meanwhile, one of our other colleagues that we were in school with went running over trying to catch them. Well, as a result of that, you see, I have a smile on my face now. I did not smile about this for a long time, but I'm smiling now because I discovered wabi-sabi. So one of the things that happened, because there was absolutely nothing wrapped, no bubble wrap, no protection whatsoever, and many, many things were broken. But the thing that broke my heart that day was the last gift my mother, who had just recently died, gave me, which was an Italian hand-painted platter. And I'm Italian, in case you can't figure out by that last name of mine. And it was beautiful. And it was broken and cracked all along one of its edges. And I used to display this and always look at it. Occasionally I'd take it down and serve pasta or something in it. But I always treasured this. And here it was, broken in pieces. And I cried. And then I thought, gosh, this means so much to me that I moved from wabi-sabi, broken imperfection, and I, for the first time in my life, practiced the art of kintsugi. I hope I say that right. You familiar with that? Yeah, so that's when the Japanese take something that is broken. In fact, sometimes they deliberately break it, and they put it back together with gold lacquer. And it becomes more beautiful than it was when it was broken and before it was broken. So it's just an evolution of this beauty, of this seeming imperfection. And so I didn't do it with gold, I'll be honest. I was still in ministerial school. I did it with some very strong Gorilla Glue. Gorilla Glue is my friend. It is, too, a fantastic expression of the divine. So I spent 3 months. I would come home from work or school, and I would just painstakingly put back pieces of this beautiful platter. And I, to this day, have that broken platter on a little easel, and it hangs up in the kitchen of my cabin in Evergreen. It's beautiful. And I think it's more beautiful because it was broken. And here's the thing. She was shattered in pieces, and nothing would change the fact that that bowl, that serving platter, was given to me with so much love from my mother. And I don't think it's any accident that that's the first thing that came to me when I started looking at vulnerability. Because vulnerability is about sometimes showing those cracks and seemingly broken parts of ourselves. And we think it's going to kill us, crush us, devastate us. And instead, it empowers us to be more of who we really are. Because let's be honest, we're obsessed with being perfect, aren't we? Right? Don't we find that as a society? Let's be perfect. And the chase for perfection can be toxic. It can cause us to have such fear, right? Whether it's public speaking, you can tell I don't have an issue with that. You can tell Z doesn't have an issue with that. Neither one of us have a problem with that, but each of us have our own fears. And we have this need to say or do the right thing in front of others. And if this is left unchecked, it can lead to more serious mental health issues. I know that. I'm a chaplain at a mental health hospital. And it can lead to things like deep anxiety. It can lead to depression. It can also lead to something almost everyone experiences, the imposter syndrome. You all familiar with that? Yeah. Like one of these days you're going to find out that I'm not really a minister. No, I am. So, yeah, I hope so. But here's the thing. In that chase for perfection, I admit this. Okay, yes, it's very important as a clinical chaplain and an educator of there. I need to be very educated. But I wasn't satisfied with just being a master's student at Holmes Institute. No, I went on and got another doctorate in theology and clinical pastoral psychotherapy. And then I went on and got another one, doctorate of ministry in interfaith studies. But I tell you what, both those things got me the job I have right now. So in my perfect, imperfected way of trying to be more perfect, I actually created something that God knew before me, right? That God within me knew was my path. Just do it. I kept asking myself, why am I doing this? I have enough education. Why am I doing this? Now I understand, because it really helps me to understand those beings that I serve, those beings that think they're cracked and broken. And I get to show up and reflect back to them the perfection that they are, even if they experience schizoaffective disorder, bipolar disorder, borderline personality, schizophrenia. Yes, I deal with all of those. My brother had schizophrenia. So you saw my crack there as I said that word. Yes, still touches my heart. He has passed as well. But here's the thing. We are all made in the image and likeness of God. We are perfectly made by a perfect creator. But here's the other side of that thing. We are not perfect revealers. Nope. Not you, not me, not any of us. Nobody reveals and demonstrates the perfect way we were made. And we are made, and we're still that. Not even that person that you know that dresses perfectly, seems just ridiculously intelligent, and has everything together. Even that person, you know you're thinking of that person right now, right? Just kind of makes you feel uneasy every time you're around him or her, or they. And you just know that somehow they've got it together and that we don't. We have all made mistakes. Missing the mark, right? That's what we say about sin and New Thought. We have a great concept that I think goes along with this idea about our vulnerability and our perfection in the midst of that. It is all about just missing the mark. It's an old archery term. You guys know this, right? About sin, what it means. What's it mean? Miss the mark. So when they were playing archery, they'd pull out that bow and they'd pull it back and it'd go and it'd miss that mark. And somebody would scream out loud, "Sing!" Well, that's all sin is, really. It's just missing the mark. And it's perfectly imperfect. And when you recognize that nobody is perfectly demonstrating their perfection, it is insanely liberating. Seriously, because then you know, okay, I can be as silly, I can mess up, I can screw up. And believe me, I do it on a regular basis. So it just makes everything better. We can develop more deep and meaningful relationships. We can embrace more experiences if we're not always worried about screwing up, because it's really okay. So in celebration of all things imperfect, perfectly, and wabi-sabi, here are a few stories of people who have embraced their vulnerability and their mistakes and their flaws and their cracks and their brokenness and have emerged much stronger for it. Now, I'm sure that before me this month, somebody probably mentioned the name of this person. Brene Brown? Come on, because we can't talk about vulnerability without mentioning Brene Brown. And you probably have watched her TED Talk, right? Okay, so I'm going to just give you a little review about what she discovered. she was a social worker, or still is actually, a researcher and a storyteller, and she delivered that game-changing TED Talk, right, where she actually talked about it. And that's been viewed more than 58 million times. Did you know that? 58 million times. That's a lot. That is a lot. And in her talk, she speaks about how in her desire to discover more about human connection, how she ended up being on a personal path to embrace her own vulnerability. She was raised in one of those families, perhaps you were too, suck it up, right? Any suck it up family members here? Yep. Suck it up, get it done. She spent years trying to outrun her own perfection. So, who knows? Maybe she was gluing together a Italian pot that her mom gave her or something. But she set out during part of her research to quantify and understand human connection in common terms, tangible terms, to organize it into a code. And after speaking to thousands and thousands of people, researchers do that, she found out some things. She found out that the people that had and experienced connection the most had certain things in common. She found that they, one, had a sense of courage and bravery. I know I've got some courageous and brave people here, right? The fact that we show up, come on. We're still having little remnants of thinking, oh, we can't gather together for church. We're just going to stay at home in our PJs. We're going to drink a cup of coffee and just do it that way. But you got up, you put on your clothes, you put on your smile, and you're here. That takes a certain kind of courage and bravery right there. And the second thing in common that this group of people had that experienced human connection, they embraced vulnerability. Amazing, right? And she found out that as someone who rejected vulnerability her whole life, it led her to a little breakdown. Now, those were her words, not mine. I don't say the word breakdown or insane without thinking about it anymore because it can hurt someone that I serve. So I'm very careful. I choose it. When I said it was insanely liberating, I mean it, because a lot of my patients are far more liberated than I am, That's, seriously. So she quickly discovered that she was not alone in this attempt to escape vulnerability and the showing of her flaws. You see, everyone out there was trying to hide their vulnerability too. And they were scared to ask for help. Anyone here ever scared to ask for help? I am. I've gotten better. Scared to show weakness or imperfection. My mother told me when I was a little girl, and I guarantee you, my mother had no intention of malice with this, but she used to tell me all the time, Beleggies don't cry in public. They don't cry in public. So when I went at 5 years of age to go get my tonsillectomy, my tonsils were all swollen up. They were going to prick my finger to take blood when I got registered in the hospital, right? And I was doing my best, biting my tongue, doing this, anything not to let my mama see that I was indeed about to break down and cry in public. Yeah, because I wasn't going to show my weakness, right? But I got to tell you, it affects, those kind of things affect us. Our inability to be willing to be vulnerable publicly, it affects us for years. At my own wedding back in 2002, I couldn't cry. I felt it. It was right there, huge boulder in my throat. I couldn't let it go. Why? Still had stuff tied to that. Beleggies don't cry in public. Now, I know where my mom is right now. She's dancing and going, yay, she got past that one, and because I believe that my mom and I had some sort of an agreement that she would say that, I would struggle, and I would get through it, right? Connection. It led me to have to experience vulnerability. Now I cry on pretty much the drop of a hat. My patients make me cry because they see such beauty in things that I'm not noticing. All sorts of things. Or they have some spiritual insight and they share it with me. And I realize, wow, they just taught me something. I've got a master's in consciousness studies, a doctorate in this and a doctorate in that. And this person who's never stepped one foot into seminary or in a prac class or any CSL classes just said something that made me go, wow, right? And yet we think these people are messed up. We think they're not right, man. No, I got to tell you, they are so right. And they are beautifully broken. And they are perfectly imperfect. So this led Brene, let's go back to Brene for a minute, to change the way she thought about vulnerability. She challenged her perceptions. Instead of rejecting imperfection, embraced it, began to be willing to talk about her own flaws, her own seeming brokenness. And her story of vulnerability has resonated with millions of people around the globe, including Oprah. Come on, we're all fans of Oprah. If you go to a CSL church, I'm sorry, you got to be a fan of Oprah, right? So this is what she said about vulnerability. Brene Brown said, to let ourselves be seen, deeply seen, vulnerably seen, to love with our whole hearts, even though there's no guarantee. And that's really hard. To practice gratitude and joy in those moments of terror when we are wondering, and I know you've all wondered this, can I love you this much? Can I believe in this passionately? Can I be fierce about this? Just to be able to stop and say, and instead of catastrophizing, I'm really good at that, by the way, getting less good at it, but what might happen, to just say, I'm so grateful, because to feel this vulnerable means I am alive. I am alive. So the next time you feel that warm feeling coming up your face, and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm embarrassed, or I'm feeling ashamed, just remember that you're alive. You're alive in the perfect imperfection that God made you. Yeah, so go out there, be vulnerable. So Salvador Dali said, you all know him, the great guy that painted things a little upside down in every which way. He says, have no fear of perfection, you will never reach it. Wow. Well, I'm here to tell you, have no fear of perfection because you already have it. Instead, focus on your ability to reveal it, to demonstrate it, okay? You already have it within you. Let's talk about Tina Fey, another person who's embraced her vulnerability. And who doesn't love her? Come on, Tina Fey, come on, superstar, right? You know, she does all that stuff. She's fabulous. And there are many reasons why she is so likable. But one of the biggest is the fact that she's so vulnerable and open about her flaws. And she really is. She makes it into a good thing. She started her career as an improv comic, which meant she had to get used to slipping up on a perfectly imperfect public platform, right? She had to get used to that. And as ministers, we definitely have to get used to making mistakes in public. Oh yeah, because we do. Rather than trying to nail every joke, she embraced mistakes as part of her comedic persona. And as publicly said, some of her best jokes have actually come straight out of mistakes. So here is a fabulous spiritual quote from Tina Fey. Are you ready? In improv, there are no mistakes, only beautiful, happy accidents. And many of the world's greatest discoveries have been by accident. She says, look at the Reese's peanut butter cup and Botox, right? Remember those old commercials? We're all old enough to remember those, right? The guy's walking by and he gets chocolate in that guy's peanut butter, and he gets peanut butter on that guy's chocolate. And behold, the Reese's peanut butter cup is born, right? And Botox was created by a scientist that was developing something to cure double vision. And the side effect is, oh my goodness, it makes wrinkles go away. Now, if that's not perfect imperfection, I don't know what is. So great. Yeah. So Tina Fey even won a Primetime Emmy for her role. And she has just blessed us all, making us all know that we can screw up and still breathe. We can screw up and still live. We can screw up and still shine. Only wounded healers can heal. In clinical chaplaincy, we teach a concept that was actually first presented by, I'll say Henry Nouwen, but it's really Henri Nouwen. And it is the concept that only wounded healers can heal. We also teach in clinical chaplaincy that healers harmed and harmful can hurt people without intention. No intention of malice, just ignorance. And so we have to be aware of this. and many people that go into the helping professions like ministry, like counseling, like chaplaincy, they have a lot of wounds. And if those folks don't take care of themselves, myself included in that, I still see a therapist. I have to make sure that I'm aware of my flaws, aware of where I'm tender, so that I can serve people that are in extremely vulnerable situations more fully, more completely, and without harm. Many years ago, my mentor and chaplaincy teacher spoke about trauma. He reminded me that we are all wounded. Now, my new thought self at that time wanted to stop and think, say, no, that's not true. No, we're not. We're perfect, right? We're whole and complete. But after thinking about it and living into my chaplaincy and seeing all of that which seemed to be broken and imperfect and death, I realized that no, that's not true. We are all wounded. But it's up to us to find our wholeness beyond that, to see through the cracks of our brokenness to the light that shines so brightly behind them. The difference in each of our situation is whether or not we can accept our own story. We are the only persons that can write the narrative of our lives, and we're the only persons that can edit that narrative of our lives. We are the people that rewrite the story. So who are the wounded healers? Many of us in helping professions are wounded healers. I'm a clinical chaplain and spiritual counselor, and I am a wounded healer. And I am also a perfectly perfect human being, made in the image and likeness of God, just like you are. Many of you have heard of Mother Teresa, and we think, oh, Mother Teresa, look what she did. After Mother Teresa died, we found her journals and discovered she struggled with doubt in her faith. She was experiencing crises of faith every single day. Now I still question whether it was ethical for us to open up her journals and read about that. And yet, what a gift, right? Like wherever she is right now, she's probably not concerned at all about being vulnerable. Probably my own vulnerability that is concerned about her being vulnerable without permission. Psychiatrist Viktor Frankl, a survivor of Nazi concentration camp, had his struggles and consequently, from his experience in the Holocaust, developed a form of therapy called logotherapy. And it was also the beginning of positive psychology. And if you want to know more about positive psychology, go no further than Centers for Spiritual Living. Oh, wait, you're already here. So that is what our theology is blended with, is positive psychology. So the wounded healer archetype is actually a term by Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung that Henry Nouwen took on. He's the one that made it very famous. But we're often intuitive and insightful, and by sharing our stories, and that's all of us in here, we can help inspire others on their journeys. And in a recent post by Roger Cahook, Jung proposed that therapists who had been wounded can provide their clients with a deeper empathy, patience, and acceptance. Remember what I said? Had I not had my own wounds, had I not gone through that, I cannot serve the people that I'm with every day that are hurting and do not remember their wholeness and have forgotten who they are. But if they can feel better for 1 second and know that somebody cares, somebody will sit with them in their delusions, someone will not try to correct their delusions, then maybe, just maybe, they're going to feel a little bit better. And here's the kicker. They're healing me, right? Because they're allowing me the opportunity to see through the seeming flaws, the seeming brokenness, at their wholeness, at their perfection. See, in fact, it is our own hurt and pain that provide us with the power to heal others. Whether a healer or not, to be able to listen to other people's stories, we must be self-aware enough to learn how to listen deeply to our own stories. We must be brave enough to release the power and the possibility of vulnerability. And then, and only then, can we see in reality it's all perfect and everything is holy. Thank you. Let us pray. Let's just take a nice deep breath. Recognizing that the very breath we breathe is the breath of God. Yes, it is the breath of God breathing us right here and right now. And as we feel that breath fill us, let it go in and remind us of the wholeness and the perfection in which we always live. That one heart, that one mind, that one livingness and lovingness that I choose to call God, Spirit, the divine, or by many other names. Let us remember that we are made in its perfect way. For we are made perfectly by perfection, and it is perfectly imperfect the way we express it. Let us remember that we are connected always and forever with this one power and presence, this livingness and lovingness. It is the very life of who we are. It is the very beautiful brokenness that we seem to be in moments. And beyond all, through the wounds, through the flaws, through the brokenness, we are whole, perfectly made. So right here and now, I declare that because we recognize and remember this, that we experience this day and forward a greater experience, expression, and demonstration of that perfection, of that divine perfection that often shines its most brilliance when we are demonstrating imperfection, when we are being vulnerable about our mistakes, when we are being human with one another. Witnessing our humanity is our greatest divinity. And so I just bless all who are present here and within the sound of my voice, that the blessings of the whole, of the one, of the livingness and lovingness is yours today. Let it prosper your lives. Let it enhance relationships. Let it be the very breath we breathe, the very life we live. For this and so much more, I give great thanks. I recognize there's nothing left to do. Simply to release this word into that power of heart, that power of mind, and simply let it be. And together we affirm this by saying, and so it is. Amen. Thank you. Yay! Yay!
Oh, let's give Reverend Paula another hand. Thank you so much for being here. And now it's that time for our sacred giving. I want to thank everyone here for their time, talent, and treasures that they pour into CSL Denver as we continue to grow and continue to and you see how ruckus they are back there. They're just having a great time, and that's what we intend to do here, is to have a great time with the Spirit. So right now, you'll see running across the bottom of the screen all the different ways you can give. You can go to our website, www.csldenver.org, and click the donate button. There you can do text to give, or you can even do the old-fashioned way by sending a check or money order to the P.O. box. But however you give, thank you, and we appreciate you, and we love you. And so if you will just, if it feels comfortable, place your hand over your heart as we customarily do when we give our offerings, and repeat this affirmation. Our perfect gift is perfect is performed, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive, and so it is. Amen. Thank you. And Alice will come up and give us some announcements.
Okay. Oh, they're passing the plates. So we have some new things going on. Marcella Lively, one of our congregants, will be performing. Marcella Lively will be performing the Great Sophia, called Sophia and the Great Awakening. This is a heartfelt spiritual drama for these challenging and transformational times on our planet. Divine Sophia, the Great Mother, explains how the world was created by Father God and herself, and how they placed a spark of divine light in each human. So the show is happening right here next week. upstairs in the theater. There are 2 shows on Saturday, May 6th at 7 p.m. and Sunday, May 7th at 2 p.m. So right after church, you can go grab a bite to eat and then come back. The cost of the tickets are $22, and to purchase them, you can go to www.eventbrite.com and then search for Sophia. And Suzanne, our lovely web person, has put in the, it was in the MailChimp, the actual link that went right to Sophia. So if you're interested in that. And we will have a concession table with water and drinks and some goodies as a fundraiser for us. And please let me or Reverend Elzia know if you're interested in volunteering to help with this.
When is it again?
It is next week. It's next Friday, Saturday night at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 2 p.m.
Maybe I'll have my car with me.
And thank you to everyone who volunteered to help the Historic Grant Avenue fundraiser that happened last night. Daniel didn't come today, so we don't know how it went, how it was successful and made money and all that. We hope so. So as we usually mention, if you would like to hear some good news of the world, to affirm the good in the world, we have a link on our Facebook page called And Now the Good News. The program is put together by New Thought Media Network and airs on Fridays at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, or you can watch these anytime during the week. Just go to the Center for Spiritual Living Denver Facebook page and click on any post that says, And Now the Good News. And New Thought Media Network has over 40 hours of weekly broadcast programs, including prayer time at 8:15 a.m. and p.m. every day, Wisdom of the Mystics, and Finding the Joy in the Journey, along with New Thought Radio, to name only a few. And they do have several programs in Spanish as well. And actually, Reverend Robert is down in Albuquerque this weekend. Ricky Byers is down there at the Rio Grande CSL, and so I think they probably he's videotaping it. And yeah, Susan Clark, who was our music director, was singing 3 songs with her, and actually Susan is going to be our musical guest during the month of May. So be sure to check in with that. So let's close out with Chris Chickering singing a prayer for who we really are. And please join us for fellowship. We've got goodies, we've got coffee, tea, water, and all of that. Thank you all. Thank you, Reverend Paula. Reverend Dr. Paula.
This is a prayer for the love within us. This is a prayer to release our hearts. This is a prayer that we carry with us. This is a prayer for who we really are. We are light, we are sunshine, we are what we believe. We are hope, we are promise of everything that's yet to be. We are bliss, we are laughter, we are flowers in the spring. We are life, ever flowing, and these are the words that we will sing. This is a prayer for the love within us. This is a prayer to release our hearts. This is a prayer that we carry with us. This is a prayer for who we really are. We are strong, we are fearless, we find the comfort in our souls. We are real, we are open to the destiny that's ours to hold. This is a prayer for the love within us. This is a prayer to release our hearts. This is a prayer that we carry with us. This is a prayer for who we really are. present in every moment that we breathe. We are peace, we are freedom, and this is a song for you and me. Yeah, this is a prayer for the love within us. This is a prayer to release our hearts. This is a prayer that we carry with us. This is a prayer for who we really. This is a prayer for the love within us. This is a prayer to release our hearts. This is a prayer that we carry with us. This is a prayer for who we really are. Who we really are. Who we really are.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Happy birthday, Camp Cedar Ridge. We invite you to come camp and celebrate our first year while in sacred service. May 19th through the 21st, we'll be restoring our beloved meditation labyrinth. Come camp with us for the weekend, and all we'll ask you to cover are the meals. Vegetarian, vegan, and gluten-free options are available. That's the weekend of Friday, May 19th to Sunday, May 21st. You can bring your own tent or act fast and register for one of our glamping tents or bunkhouse beds while supplies last. We do have limited indoor accommodations for an additional fee. Find more details and registration at campcedarridgeor.org/lab.